In this video, we're going to learn how to export the summarized parts list, also known as a BOM. We can export the BOM based off of mounting location, high-level function, or project. In this case, we're going to export the whole project so we can order all the parts for a given project. And to begin, we click under the Utilities menu, come down to Manufacturer Data, and then select Export Labeling. This will display our export labeling dialog box. We need to pick the settings that we want to do. By doing so, we click the 3-button lookup button. This will pop up our settings dialog box, and from here we want to create a new scheme. So we come over to the right and click on the New button, which will pop up the report type selector, and we want to do is come down to the summarized parts list, highlight it, click OK. From here we need to go ahead and give ourselves a meaningful name and go ahead and add a description in of the export type. Under the settings dialog here, you have multiple settings that you do. The first tab is the file tab. Here we can select an Excel, text file, XML. We're going to go ahead and select a text file. That gives us the ability to manipulate it and look at it in Notepad, and also import it into Excel for future use. The target file, we're going to leave it blank, so that way during the export we can determine where we want to export instead of having a default location. We don't need any headers at this point, and so we're going to go to the label. The first thing that we want to do is put our order number for the part in there. So we're going to highlight part and then click the right arrow button. And then we're going to go to our order number inside of here, highlight it, and click OK. This will add that to the first column. Next thing to do is to add a separator between the columns. So we're going to come down to the bottom here, select the separator, use the right arrow button once again. And here we can choose multiple different types of separators. If we wanted to put a semicolon or a comma, we can select that here. But what we're going to do for this report is use the tab feature instead. So we're going to tab to limit our entries. So we highlight the tab radio button and then click OK. That now added our separator into the report. The next thing we want to do is put the quantity that we have in there. So we're going to come under part reference, highlight that, and then click the right arrow button once again. And here what we want to do is select the number of units or quantity, highlight that, and then click OK. And like before, we're going to go ahead and put a tab separator as well too. So once again, select the tab or separator option, click the right button, and then select tab, click OK. After that, we want to go ahead and put the manufacturer of the part in there. So we're going to come under part once again, click the right arrow button, and then come down to manufacturer name. Highlight that, click OK. That's now added our manufacturer name in here. Once again, we need another separator. So when we import into Excel, we know. So let's highlight separator, right arrow button, and once again, choose the tab. We've now added tab in. The last thing that we want to do is go ahead and add the description of the part in. So once again, we'll take the part. We'll then hit the right arrow button and then come up here to the description, highlight it, click OK, and now all the pieces are in here. If we needed to change any of these columns around, we can use these up and down arrows to change the position of the entry, but for now we're just going to keep the columns where they are. We are not going to add a footer. We could if we need to, but we're not going to. And the other thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and grab the different pieces. So, certain cases, internal strip parts, meaning, if we have end anchors or end barriers or anything else like that added to the internal strip definition, we need to go ahead and export that. If we want to go ahead and get the correct number of terminals, let's go ahead and add that to the report as well too. If we have cable parts or anything like that, we can go ahead and put those in as desired. Same thing with any plugs or anything else like that. But for now, we're just going to keep those blank and just keep the terminals only. Now that our settings are all done and complete, we just click OK. Now here, this is the actual export once going back to the main screen. So here we could choose a target file. What we want to do is use our lookup button and designate a file. What we've done is we've created under our local disk C, I've created an EPlan folder and then an exports folder. And then all we want to do is give it a title name. Now, if you already have a file existing and you want to reuse it, that's fine. But it's going to prompt you to overwrite it. But what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just do a BOM export on this one. And we hit open. Now here you have the option of just doing an export, which will just export, and then you have to go open up the file to the location that you stored it at. Or you can do an export and start application. I prefer doing this just so you can see the data being presented. And once you do that, you just click OK, and it will do our export for you. And as you can see, we now have all of the parts with a quantity, manufacturer, and description that we need. That's all we need for the export.